Hello and welcome to Retronics episode 3. Today we'll be learning about Vision Mixer macros. So we'll be learning about Vision Mixer macros on the Blackmagic ATEM Television Studio, but the concept is the same everywhere. You would normally put your Vision Mixer into a record mode, and then you would do a sequence of events, and then you'd hit stop at the end, and then you can play back that sequence of events later just on one button. So if you've got a complicated mix or transition, put stuff in a key, all that sort of stuff you can do off one button. Sounds like magic, doesn't it? But you've got to do it right in the first place, or edit it, and you've got to get it right. You may know that the Snells and the Kahunas and the Grass Valleys out there, you can go back in and edit the sequence anytime you like, but this you can't. You've got to go around and dig around in XML to make it all work. It's kind of a bit like programming in a way that you've got to think of that structure. I've got a handy bit of paper here that I've been through already, so don't think that this is all in my head, it's definitely not. Today we're going to make a transition effect, so we're going to do kind of a wipe, and then we've got a program preset transition behind it that you won't see, and then we'll wipe that graphic off again. So let's get going. Let's put you in the panel. You may recognise this panel if you've seen any of my other videos. So one thing that I've got to do that's a little bit special, first of all, so you can see when I do my program preset transition that you will see the panel output still. I'm going to pre-select these two here. This one is obviously what you're looking at here anyway, so that's the on-air source, and I'll just make sure that when I do that program preset you still see the panel output. Now as long as that click there isn't in the macro, it doesn't get recorded. So we want to keep that option available to the person using that macro to be able to pre-select any other source here. Another bit of weird one, now because I'm using keyer 1 here, if I cut that keyer on here, you'll see that you can't see anything anymore, but I've set up a mask. Over here on the right hand side I've put a mask in. Now that will basically allow us to see the panel when we've got that, what will be full frame graphic on the screen. So I think that's about it. Now if you go back to our macros, we pull up our macro window. Oh, I've just got rid of it, I'll get it back. We want to create and add one, and we'll call it transition effect. There we go, and now you'll see now it's got a red border. That means it's recording, and I'll look at my paper and see what the first thing is that we need to do. First thing we need to do is load some media in. So if I switch to the media window, it's already got the media in there, but I want to make sure that it's loading it as part of the macro. So I'll scrub that out and I'm going to re-enter that. So that means that as part of my macro it definitely knows to load that in. We switch back to the switcher. We want the next transition, so this element of the screen here, to put our upstream keyer 1 on. We need to select keyer 1, get rid of background because we don't want to do that bit just yet. I've had a go of wipes, and I've picked a wipe. So if you go into the wipes and transition on a wipe, I pick this diagonal one here. So again, if we go away and then back to it, it can re-emphasize what we want and what we like here. I like a 30% softness, so I'll deselect that in a way by selecting 0 and then reselect 30. That makes it part of the macro then because I've changed it. Then we can select the transition time to be 12 frames. I don't know whether I should do a separate video on frame rates. Tell you one thing that is worth looking at is Matt Parker's video on the 29.97 frame rate. It's really good. So we've set the keyer 1, we've set the wipe time, and we've set that to be 12. We've not run that yet because we would see down the bottom of the screen here, we'd see keyer 1 come on. So if I do that now, so the wipe wasn't masked, but the actual keyer is masked to the bottom. So there, we are now covering the screen. Imagine that this whole screen is covered now. What we want to do is our program preset transition, but we want to make sure that that happens after the wipe. Now, these vision mixers are like computers. They can do an incredible amount in a short space of time. So we want to make sure we add a pause in that will make sure the next action happens after that wipe. So we've added an extra frame on there. It's a 12 frame wipe. So after 13 frames we should be good to do our program preset transition. So to do that, we need to then go back to background here to get the preset come through. And we don't have to change the transition style because there's a separate cut button anyway. So then we can cut that. Now you didn't see anything, and hopefully it registered my mouse click. And then we can go off that then, and we can select Keyer 1, and we can go another wipe for 12 frames, and we can do that one there. Now the keyer's gone, but what it's good to do is put things back to the way they should be. But we want to make sure that we wait for that transition to get out of the way then, otherwise part way through that transition it will change back to background and also mix, which is kind of a standard setup. So that's why I added that extra delay in. So we're pretty good to finish, I think, on that. Yeah, I think we've put everything back to normal. So let's deselect that, and let's go back to, let's pick another preset source. So that's my wide camera there, and hopefully if we go to run now, we'll be able to run that effect. So that looks a bit horrific, but that's probably because of the mask. So let's go back to the upstream key. Move this out of the way, get rid of the mask, and let's try that again. So that's much better. One thing you can do as well, if you look at the edges, so where you're likely to see that transition, so down in this corner here and up there, keep an eye on them when you're running that, just to make sure that there's nothing sneaking through. That cut is at the right time. It should be, because I've done the maths on it, and it should be bang on. Okay, well I think that is about enough. That's 7 minutes. If you've got any questions, please do comment below, and I will see you next time. Thank you.